initiated the stream, and we have confirmation. Confirmation is coming, and we are live. So that has been a success. See? So basically we have gone through a mission troubleshooting procedure, and it works. It's a technical issue that we had in the game, in the game broadcast. Okay, so let me start all over with this. Okay, this is the Imperial Majesty Gilberto Rosado. We just did a run through trying to get a game instance going, and immediately on starting the broadcast streams, we had synchronicity issues between the instances of our systems software, OBS for you guys otherwise, and so that was the first thing we had to deal with. We couldn't proceed with the synchronicity issue happening. It was quite obvious, and the whole control here, the monitor, the computer itself was very sluggish in its responses, and we just started. So we haven't even loaded up the Gamemaster user interface, which is another piece of software, and it's already slow and choppy without the software having started. We're going to have a problem with the mission, right, and with the broadcast. So the same thing, the broadcast, the technical issues affecting the broadcast, right, the game broadcasting the game out, are the same type of stuff that would affect an actual space mission. In terms of, we had to troubleshoot this. This is a problem that needs troubleshooting. So, again, what we had to do was, the first order of business is reboot. It's always a good practice to reboot the computer before you start a new mission, before you start broadcasting out. So we did that. We rebooted, and then we started to initialize the streams. Upon trying to reinitialize the streams, we had another thing happen, which was still the synchronicity. Now, at that point, that was the second stage. So what we noticed was that one instance of OBS was not synchronized with the other. So again, out of experience, it seemed like it would be some issues, some conflict in settings. This is the first time, I believe, that we were actually broadcasting, doing a mission using the AI scene in the Spaceperium package. So, we're usually running the HUD scene, which is the basic control, main control screen that although you have been used to seeing up to now. But this scene that I'm using right now is for the AI, the artificial intelligence. So it's a completely different scene. And well, it's a complete different scene bundle. Completely. So, and I don't believe we've ever broadcasted, and I usually broadcast with 2 instances of OBS. And so it became apparent that there was some conflict in settings. The internet bandwidth was showing red. We had problems with the bandwidth, and also the synchronicity between the 2 instances of OBS. But instead of rebooting, because obviously we had just rebooted, and it wouldn't be a rebooting issue, but a settings issue, what we did was stop the broadcast stream going out. And except I tried to preserve the HAPs, obviously it had to shut down as well. But in any case, we tried. We shut down the streams, and I opened up the settings in each of the instances of OBS. And I made a visual check for each factor involving video. So we looked at the video settings. They were both the same, optimal for what we want to do, so that wasn't an issue. Then I looked at the output. And the output tab, and under, I believe, recording, I did find a difference between the two. And so I quickly identified the difference. One of them was the encoder was the difference. One of them was encoding with X264. You guys who know OBS know what that means. And the other was encoding using the default. So they're not the same. Default is not the same as X264. One OBS says one thing, is set for one thing, and the other is set for something else. Then you got like two. It's not working like one OBS. It's working actually two competing with each other for total resource, or taking over all the resources, and that's certainly not something you want to do. So I set them both together for X264s, and I set the application to apply, and then we initiated the broadcast streams again. And so we had success. YouTube had to be refreshed, and then it started coming in. We did the last thing, as you saw, was to reset the YouTube to rebroadcast again, and that's what you saw here when I counted down from 5. And that was a success. So right now we're successfully broadcasting on all the streams, and again, we'll need to check that if in fact that is the truth, because we haven't verified if we are actually on. I have one indicator that should indicate, or should be telling us, that we are on all of the other streams, but this is another check that I will do now. If we can. So just give that a moment to refresh itself. Okay. And it's interesting how, getting a broadcast stream out there is very similar to getting ready to launch, and anything in space. It would be very carefully done and looking for verification, and time does go by, right? The time does go by. He's saying, what is this guy doing there? But if you were looking at a mission, an actual mission to the moon, to Mars, and there was a little problem, you've seen that. Have you seen any of the launches in history that we've had? I've lived through a bunch of them, and I've watched. And sometimes when they're having these, they have to stop the clock. And you got the astronauts sitting in the cockpit, and they have to sit there for 20 minutes, for 30 minutes. They'll be like maybe hitting buttons every once in a while, but not all the time, because sometimes the problem has to be fixed by, ground control or whatever, mission, what do you call it? Mission central, whatnot, mission control. So it's not always something that the astronauts necessarily have control over, right? Depends on what the specific problem is. Otherwise, you see them sitting there waiting. If they have to reboot the computers, the onboard computers, they have to sit and wait for the computers to reboot, and check and go through the process, the boot process, and all that, and then run a few tests. So we have to wait because there's nothing else to do. We have to wait until that part of the troubleshooting and the process is eradicated or fixed or confirmed. Now what I don't have here is that we're live through the apps on Facebook, but we're not live through directly through Facebook. So, we are actually live on Facebook through one of the instances. Okay, so basically, so that's working. Everything is working now. I think that covers all of our channels here. So, all right. So that being said, that's a good thing. So we have green light to continue our mission today. Our mission today is continuing to work on the artificial intelligence, and what we're going to do today is work some more on the user interface, the graphical user interface, which is what GUI means, right? Have you ever seen that? That's what that means, a graphical user interface. And then we'll be trying to get some scripting done for the AI. So I have some ideas for the AI. There's a storyline with the AI, and we want to make the AI be able to speak for the game players. So that's what I'm going to be working on today, is having the AI speak and mission based, so that and even to queries. So depending on the query, the AI would look things up and would speak to the game master, to the captain of the ship, but as well, commander. But all the players are listening. All the ship is, the complement is as part of the gameplay. They're listening to what the AI is saying as well, right? So that's part of the movie experience. So that's what I'm going to be working on. Now the AI, between the AI and the regular broadcast mission, we're already incorporating interesting depth to Spaceperium, to the Spaceperium experience. And our hopes is, what we're trying to create also is that movie effect for the players. Of course, those of you who have been watching our videos for a while, you may have heard me talk about the TV shows and movies that Spaceperium will make. That's part of our Spaceperium experience. So we're trying to make a system, an easier system that uses the game mechanic to actually foster the screenplay, so that the game mechanic produces a screenplay, either for the mission itself, the mission show, and for future movie making, for splicing together and bringing things together. And so that we have easy ways of taking segments from the different players, different ships across the planet, and splicing them together and creating actually a movie that's tied together, one ship, the other ship, etc., etc. And that will create fascinating content. So I'm really excited about that. That's part of the planning in the game mechanics, so that the game mechanics produces movie style experiences, or at least clips that can be put together and then made into a large into a major film. So that's one of the things that we are, as we're developing the Spaceperium experience, we want to develop, and so we're developing with that in mind. as well. So, so the AI having a script is important. The game masters having an easy way of accessing the AI scripts and creating to help them create that experience is vital in this game. That's why the game is using that what do you call it, that game mechanic, because game masters are a game mechanic in an RPG, a role-playing game, which is what Spaceperium is. It is a role-playing game, and the game master uses the game master as the ship's commander, but also as the game's broadcasters, right? And the commander, obviously, and the game master is one that holds that game together and actually produces the game's ambiance and makes the game move along. Although we have other mechanics in the game that make the game move along, but it's important. The game master's role is so important because obviously the game master is the commander of the ship. So yeah, it's very important that the game master gains skill in making this mission real, right? So it's making this mission real. It's taking things seriously, just like I did here with the troubleshooting. I made it part of the game. So anything that happens, the game master just has to incorporate it into the game. As simple as that. Because things happen. When you're on an actual space mission, things are going to happen. So, it gets incorporated into the game. Everything. Because there's nothing that can happen that cannot be part of a actual mission, in terms of giving it an application in a mission. If let's say we have a power shortage now over here where I'm the game master, and all of a sudden everything goes dead. Of course, immediately you may not get any information. Everybody's wondering what happened. Well, where are we? You could have been swallowed by an alien force into a wormhole, or you could be held up in time, either purposely or by accident. You fell into some type of time envelope and you're just stuck. Everything turned black, and maybe you're alive, maybe you're not. Who knows? It's just an unknown time. So see, it doesn't matter what happens in the real world. It can have a game-based or a space-based equation, or equivalent, I should say, not equation, but equivalent into something, a storyline, and can be easily incorporated into a storyline. These are things that we'll discuss with the game master, and how to take regular things that can happen from one time to another and turn it into part of the game mechanic. So that's some of the training that we give to the game master, to bring everything into as part of the game. Actually, it's part of the game. Whatever happens is part of the game, or part of the Spaceperium experience. So that's, I think, a really important thing that they need to learn, and it's an important part of the game. So making any issue that arises into a Spaceperium experience is something that we'll always be discussing with the game master, because they really need to make this, and to help the players, especially the key players. In every game mission, there's key players, right? So they're the ones like the bridge crew. The bridge crew is rotated amongst all the crew members of the ship, so that everyone on the ship has experience. We're talking about the actual people who are playing Spaceperium. Again, there's only 100 crew members to a ship, right? I'm talking about 100 real players that will be playing with a ship. For example, the Orlando Citadel ship, there's 100 players. But when we're broadcasting, like right now, when we have our broadcast of the game, there's only going to be, the crew, the main crew for those missions will be the ones actually heavily participating. Now, the other crew members will have their turn. They can have their turn come up in the next mission. On one evening, you can have 2, 3, 4 missions. It depends on the time and when people are able to play, when the game master is able to, to hold his missions. And so he may run 3 or 4 missions on a given evening. And then each of those missions may have a different set of rotated crew members, right? So that every member at least once a week will rotate into the bridge crew at one point or another, so that everyone gets to play one of the other roles on the crew as bridge crew. And we're talking about the engineers, we're talking about the head medical staff, and science officers, stuff like that you've come to know of in Star Trek and other space sci-fi games or movies and things like that. So, but again, the game master is the central aspect, and he's the one that makes, he or she could be a girl. Some of you girls know what to do. So this is exciting for either gender to get in there and keep the game going and keep the game together and the people playing it. Keep them focused on the game and enveloped in the game and in the ambience of the game. So we'll provide the training. That's part of the training program we have for game masters. Now, the game master is not just a player. It is a he or she is a player. Is one of the most important players. That's why they're the only ones who are commanders. They're either captain for the zonal ships. They are commanders for the citadel ships, and they are the admirals in the straddle ships. Okay, there's only 50 admirals, like in the United States. So it's only one for each state. So that's a very limited and very high level membership, staffing to have. Now, you'll ask, how do you become an admiral? Well, the only way to become an admiral is when you go to the Game Master landing page and you see the video that we have there explaining the different things and the different levels of game mastering. That's where you choose if you're going to be an admiral or a commander or a captain. Now, in terms of gameplay, when you're playing the game, and broadcasting the game, all three do this exact same thing. There's no difference. The only difference is your title, how you're referred to, and how you deal with the game space, if you will. You present yourself as Admiral Gilberto Rosado of the New York Statel ship. So yes, they are based on geo-based real locations. So we are using like the states of the United States for the Statel ships, right? So yeah, so then that's the only difference, because when the captain of the zonal ships, postal zones, that's it. When they do their game, they say, I'm Captain Gilberto Rosado of the zonal ship, and they give a number because they will go by their postal zone. And that's what their ship would be. But outside of that, as you're playing the game, same missions, same experiences that you would have normally. They will share the same type of mission types because it's all randomly selected, and the game has its mechanics. So you just go through the work. Now, Where is that the only difference in their titles? No, obviously not. There are great differences off of the screen. See, so when they're not broadcasting, they're not on a mission. Okay, there are differences in what the admirals and the commanders and then the captains do in the world, right? There are differences and different responsibilities. The Statel commander, he or she is in charge of the actual state, informing leaders and making and forming up the citadel ships. Citadel ships are city ships based on the cities in the state. See? So the admiral makes sure that each of the cities are represented and the ships are developed, and which means they need a team, they need their crew. So the admiral makes sure that these crews are being developed and they actually form within their state. The same thing with the commanders then of the citadel ships, the city ships, because they make sure that all the zonal ships are crewed. So they basically promote the game and the membership for each zone, for the commander does, as the admiral makes sure that every city has a citadel ship. It's basically how that works. Okay. So, and again, each level has its compensation. It's a different compensation, obviously, as you get the Statel person has to be able to, the admiral of the Statel ship has to be able to, travel their state, to make sure that all the citadels are being recruited, the crew members are getting recruited, and other thing, because the Statel also organizes big get-togethers with organizing all of these statewide get-togethers. So all of this is explained on the landing page when you go and visit that. And again, then obviously it's that's why it's treated just like a business. It is a business offering that you get into, and basically that's the decision you have to make once you see the 2-hour video. I believe it's about a 2-hour video. But in any case, but everything else so you have to really choose the position you're going to take. We're still having some synchronicity issues. I'm noting that. We're going to have to hunt that down, because that really is not a good thing. The decision is really in how able or capable you are to handle the bigger task. So obviously, it's not an issue of how much money you have. Although yes, if it does take more money to become an admiral, but also it takes more capabilities to become the admiral, to maintain yourself as an admiral. So it should only be done by people who have the ability, the capability. And one of the main capabilities is, I would say, just the travel, your ability to travel across your state. And number two, the ability to, get things moving in your state, talk with people, promote the citadel ships, within their cities, recruit a commander, you're not going to sit around waiting for commander to find my video, and then, what you want to do is make it happen. It's get the leader going and interested, and get them started and get that citadel ship started. And the more citadel ships you have started, the more financial rewards the Statel admiral receives. So the whole issue is that your compensation is based on how many ships you have under you're the admiral. So you need to build up your ships. It's as simple as that. You have your own ship as the admiral. you build up your own crew. But on top of that, in addition to that, you have to, some Citadel ships you don't have to worry about because they're already forming, or they will be forming, along with yours. But there's other cities that are slow to get started. Other cities may not have heard about Spaceperium yet. So you'll have to go and make, promotional outreach to those areas. And of course you can tell, listen, you tell the guy in the next city, the guy with the Citadel in the next city over, hey, listen, can you do me a favor and, take your crew on a mission to promote your Spaceperium Citadel for the city next to you. They're you're half an hour away, whatever it is. Can we plan a mission? Let's plan a mission this month and start another Citadel ship in at the next city over. And basically that's how you would run that. That'll save you a lot of time and money, because you got to travel. It saves you on gasoline and whatnot. You can have the closest Citadel ship crew actually go out and do some recruiting, do some campaigning. So there's different ways of making it. But again, I'm giving you these ideas, but these are things that an admiral would have to come up with and say, this is something I can do it this way, the smarter, more efficient way, and whatnot. We're also using Meetup where they promote the Citadel ships and zonal ships for that matter. Meetup, we've used it to great advantage. And so that's something else also that you guys can look into as well. All right. So I think it's a zipper there making that noise. All right. So let's get this. Let me get the user interface going. Let's see. Okay, this is the old one. We haven't done much in terms of updating. Let me see here. There's okay, it's not here. Let me get you guys some camera work going on over there. All right, so basically the user interface has it's not been updated since the last time that we were working on it. It's going through a metamorphosis, if you will, from being I wanted to have the things load up into the interface, and therefore the interface was going to be full screen. But I figured that the better option was to make it more minimized, and just have it for buttons only, for controls, and then if anything needed to open up in another window, I would use just the browser command. That's why you see a whole lot of browser commands here to facilitate the opening up of certain information and resources that the Game Master would need. Now this is only going to be used by the Game Master, not game players. They will not have this. The Game Master is the one that will have the user interface, the game user interface, or the Game Master user interface. So because of that, this is going into a transition where I'm eliminating the windows. Now you're not seeing that on there, and the reason for that is it should be showing you that, but it doesn't. It doesn't update. Let's try something else here. Okay, so let me try. We're gonna add another. That's a display capture. So I'm going to do a window capture. So we do the window capture, and that obviously that takes it. So we're going to take that, and now you guys will see that, and we do the same on you guys here on YouTube. In one moment, window capture. And voila. Oh, I see. Why did that do that? Okay, because this is still on. One moment. Window capture is on top. Let's display. Okay. Alrighty, and now you guys here have and okay, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that's the wrong one. Oh my goodness. Really? Yeah, it looked busy, so I thought that was the one. It isn't. Okay, so what are we looking for here? This one here. Alright, guys. So there you have it. Now, hopefully you'll see the updates as I do them. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get rid of the windows here. As you see, these would load up some resources here, which I'm going to get rid of. This is an edit pad. I can always add them in later if I need it. At this point, they won't be needed, but we could add them in later. So I'm just going to eliminate all this extra stuff here. I'm going to remove these buttons and put them up here. They're all out of order. They're not synced, but I just want some conciseness. And that way, because the commands are still in there, the button's over here. Although I don't think that's a button, is that? What is that? That's a browser. This is a browser, actually. So that goes goodbye. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete any web browser controls from inside the code. I'm just going to get rid of this. Let's see if we can just delete that. Select split container. Which one is that? This is phone one. Okay, let's press on this is split container 2, and then container 2. Get rid of the back and go buttons. Those were for controls there. Get rid of these. These are no longer needed. Now those things were from other software iterations that what I do is I make certain types of templates for certain ideas, and then I incorporate those into other things that I'm working on. That's all. So later on I clean them up. There's I just did now. And on the form I'm going to update the dates, the copyright date here. 21. And basically I think we have everything. That's what we're taking out. Now, all of these are in a container, which is probably what's going to give us some problems in a minute. But we'll just try to clear this up a bit and shrink this a little bit. Let's see if we can. Alright, so let me just give these guys a little different color so I can find them. Interesting. Good. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to identify each one of these so that it's easier for me to see what is what. this is a split here between these two. And then here, unlock the parent container, which we've done. Okay. Alrighty. Now, we're not going to need the split container in our new configuration, so we're going to eliminate it. That's why I want to take all of these and get them out. Alright, so we've done that. And now this container here, I'll try to delete this stuff here. Alrighty, so far we've gotten this reduced. It'll get bigger than this, I'm sure, but for now, just reduce this. And let's start this bad boy up. Right, so now it's going to look for the red browsers, obviously that they're no longer there, so that causes a fault. And so basically all we have to do is just go in and look for these automatic load-ups or references to the red browser, number 1 and 2, 3, whatever here. Like this one. This one is a reference to a web browser, right? And that's to start off, to load up an application. So all we're going to do is just apostrophe that out. When you do the apostrophe, it disenables that code. So it's basically all we have to do is just look for every instance of the web browser control and just tab it out there, put an apostrophe on there. It's another web browser control. Here we have, on the right side, you see the little red, if you can see it on your screen, this little red area here and over here. It indicates to you where at least the errors that it caught, where they are located at. So again, this whole thing has to be taken out, disenabled, because it's really it's no longer needed. Let's see, this is also web browser commands here, so these go out as well. Okay, so those get out. Let's see, this is an URL in boxes, so there's no URLs to worry about here. All that gets taken out. Okay, looks like that all the instances have been eradicated, taken care of. And now we're ready to give it another whirl. Let's see. Alright, let's see if we can show you what's happening there. Right. Alright, so this is the other monitor that you're looking at now. And this is the user interface. So as you see, we minimized it. I mean, it saves a lot of resource space, or at least monitor space, for the Gamemaster to, you know, position this wherever they want to. And I do have a control monitor, which is, you don't see it on your screen. I have two monitors. So right now I placed it on the other monitor where I have OBS and all that. And so that works pretty well. I can position this under the OBS, under the two instances of OBS user interfaces, and I have this extra controls here that I can use. Alright, so one of the problems that I've seen is that I have to reduce the size of something. Probably this bar in here is a box, and it's keeping that length. As you see there, it's really too wide. At this point, it's too wide. If I reduce the size, we start missing buttons on that we have laid out here, like so. You know, so right there, if I leave it like that, and then you notice that all my 1s through 10 buttons are missing. See that? The 1 through 10s are missing like that. So all you have to do is get rid of this box here, because this is what's keeping it open. Now we have to go to the design portion here. Not that we have to, but the easiest for me to do. This thing seems to always expand. Let's see something here. This really should adjust itself to the size of whatever we're doing here, but for some reason, let's see something. Let's try it with that. You can see when we start the user interface, it opens up an instance of Google News. That's on purpose. That's why it's always happening. That is upon load command in the software. So that's why you see that like that. Now, so this seems to be the size that we have inside the design view. So that equates to the limit. If I make it smaller, then the buttons begin to disappear here. Same thing that happens, in the design view. Okay, I'm suspicious that there's another container or something happening here, so I'm just gonna right click around here and see if there's anything that's hidden there that I'm not seeing. Then I'm going to look at the size that it says here and see if that's in if there's anything that it has to be that way. Not that I don't have a background image, but I just set it now to none. It was tile, just in case. I doubt that that's making any impact on what we're seeing, the behavior we're noticing. I'll see what auto size does. Also, it's probably nothing, but it probably makes it full screen. We'll see. Yeah, well, it makes it expand this way. Quite interesting, that behavior. Okay. So we don't want the auto size, we want that false. I'm just going to eliminate the strip here and see if the same behavior persists. I don't need the strip. Whatever was there, I can, the same type of behavior. Seems like there's a length, a width that doesn't things don't want to move and adjust. They want to stay. Let's see what the behavior set for here. In terms of it says middle center, text align. That's text align. It's not locked. Image align middle center. That would be for an image inside of it. It's not docked. This doesn't move because I think when this something's here, isn't it? Let me try something out here. One moment there. All right, we're going to take a break right after this final test. What I did was I changed the anchor, and it should now remain. Most of the ship control should be remaining. It isn't, so we just have to check that again. Probably didn't it didn't register there, so let me try that again and just rearrange that. But as you see, All the other buttons are staying put. So that's what we want. And then we'll be locking the form so that you can't even do what I'm doing now. So that's basically what we're going to do. We're going to take a break at this time. I'm going to get some space food and continue working on the AI when we get back, probably a half an hour or so. It's not that I have all that to eat, mind you, it's just that I want to rest. I need to rest. It's been a long day. You'll be surprised the things I've done all day long, okay? But anyway, we'll take the break now and we'll be back with you in about half an hour. That means 10 o'clock for you guys with a break. Take care and stay tuned. Intermission time, baby. Okay, we're coming back in. Alrighty. Alright, some people may be wondering, what am I doing with the NASA thing on? What does this have to do with NASA? Well, what does this have to do with NASA is the issue that the Spaceperium is happening concurrently with your real time. And if you've heard of our previous videos, we explain what Spaceperium is. It's the future. Okay? And I've come back from the future to look for something that was lost by the AI, which is its memory, certain stored information, data, which had to dump when an accident or an attempt at sabotage or robbery occurred in the future. And it sent everything through time. At that time also the AI discovered, or not at the time of the explosion, it just so happens that the AI was discovering time travel. And we don't know how much the people who were attacking it, if it was an attack or whatever, I don't know. We still don't know if they knew anything about it, how much they know. It just so happens that when the data dump occurred, the AI, either the explosion or the accident caused the time portal to open, or the AI was already involved in time exploration and data retrieval or whatnot. We just don't know. That part is missing. Of course, it's part of the data dump that disappeared. And basically, it selected this time period for me to come back and to accomplish two things. So one of them was I will be able to find the assets on Earth, the ones that are on Earth, because we also suspect there's parts of it that have gone to different places in the universe, and probably different times in different places in the universe. So it gets complicated. But at least the stuff from the Earth is locatable right now, because right now you have the internet, you got the blockchain forming, etc., etc. So finding things is a lot easier now, especially for the AI to connect and to assist me in finding these assets. So we call them assets, right? Or artifacts, actually. So the artifacts are assets. They're game assets as well. So the AI needs these assets, these artifacts, and they're mostly, it's not just that they have the data. The data that these artifacts have are mostly directional, what you would call navigational. So it leads to where the data is, as opposed to just being data. So a lot of it is being able to route itself with pathways, like in a brain, of where the information's at. So that's what basically most of them are. And these navigational data nodes or artifacts actually have been placed in different things, substances, because the AI has the ability to engrave in, or what do you call it, what do you call that? It's called to engrave or to write. If it was like a computer disk, it could take a piece of wood, a rock, a piece of brick, a brick from a building, and actually engrave in it the information, any information, stored information, data, or the navigational data, which is what mostly is what we're looking for at this stage of the game, literally and figuratively speaking. And so that's what it was. Now, there's a particular tunnel in the future. We call it the Hall of Memories. It's actually, the AI uses that. It's a central hall. It's like a long tunnel. It goes on for miles, a whole countries wide on the Earth. And it's, when you go into the tunnel, it used to be, at least, all tiles. It's just those tiles like you would see at what you guys call the subways that you guys have here, like in New York City and whatnot, that you have those tiles on the wall, almost like bathroom tiles. Well, the Hall of Memories uses these tiles, or at least the AI uses the tiles in much the same way that we're discussing. That's where the explosion occurred. And so a lot of these tiles were stripped from the walls and dispersed throughout time and other things like that. So there's tiles, definite tiles that we're looking for. And then there's other materials, because the AI obviously, when it did the data dump, it and positioned or placed, recorded the information, the data in different materials throughout time. So basically, some of these things are modern day, what you would call modern day pieces of art, classical artwork and whatnot. Surprisingly, that's not just what they are. They actually also contain information that the computer, the AI, now needs. So that's part of this quest. So while I'm here doing that, also it's the perfect timing of the AI, because so happens this is the beginning of Spaceperium. Spaceperium had its beginnings at this time, and so basically we're fulfilling history. I'm here doing two things at the same time, and it's not disturbing the time paradox at all. So I'm here. So basically, I was supposed to be here because that's what happened anyway, as far as I can understand it. So that's what you have. So yeah, so we are looking for the artifacts. Artifacts are used in the game often, and that's an integral part of the gameplay. But it is also something that's out there, available. I mean, some of you may have one in your home or on your walls. You may have an artifact and not know it. And that's simply what's all about. And then obviously at this point, there are some of the actors, that we could call them that participated in the SAPS, are suspected to have participated. They would be selling these artifacts right now. And again, people will be buying them as pieces of art or whatever have you, and not know that they actually have or contain Spaceperium artifacts from the AI. So basically, my job is to locate them, often to purchase them, or to at least make it an arrangement with the present owners to make the information available for the AI. And what the AI does is uses the players who are playing the game, to reach out and find these artifacts as well, to ascertain information in the game while the players are playing the game. They can access the information, request the information. That's an integral part of the gameplay in Spaceperium, which makes having or owning one of the artifacts quite an interesting situation. Okay. All right, but I'm not going to go into those details. There is financial details involved with that, but you can see those videos, whenever I do them, explaining the artifacts and the financial parts of it, because the players would need to obtain information, and the owners would, give it, provide it in return for some type of gratuity, as we call it, and so that makes owning a Spaceperium artifact an income producing situation. So, and which leads me to the one of our announcements that we have, which is an opportunity now for, if you are into NFTs or if you thought about NFTs, it seems to have taken place that NFTs were also utilized as data nodes for the AI, which means that people who create NFTs or own NFTs may have a Spaceperium artifact on hand. As a matter of fact, that you can apply to have your NFT examined to see if it is a Spaceperium artifact. Now, speaking business-wise amongst ourselves now, outside of the game framework, we are actually offering NFT owners to enable their NFTs to Spaceperium. So in other words, to make your NFT one of our game artifacts. And that's something that is available right now, that you can have your NFT become one of our game artifacts. Okay, and obviously, and the more information will be given in a future time. One moment, I'll be back. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that, but not all the crew members are doing what they need to be doing at this hour. A lot of things happening. Got a lot of things happening here. Seems that I can't just get the right shot for this camera, so I'm going to develop another contraption here to fix these cameras here. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on that next. Alright, so let's get back to this thing. Alrighty. Okay, so we had success in dealing with this. I think this thing here, yeah, this is off, so I'm gonna make that correction here. These buttons I'm gonna change. I'm gonna put some color in there. I'm rethinking this control a lot, so. And I'm gonna try to see if I can get some animated switches in here. That's another thing I'm gonna work on. Let's see if at all possible. I'm going to put some color on these. Let's see. This is background image is none here. Color. I'm trying to okay, so this is the colors here. I can change it to these colors. So basically we can have we're going to color code some of these controls. That's another thing we're going to do, and give the controls here a little color, so it will emulate. What I'm trying to do is emulate a control panel. Emulate a control panel, just like you would have on the space ship. So that is going to be what I'm going to be working on next. So let me check this out here, and the anchors are right here. I don't think this one, this one had the top left. So that anchor says top left. How about this one? Top left. Well, top left. So it should not be moving. So let's see. Right. So now this doesn't move here. So let me bring this down to its lowest. Make sure we save on both of these and crank her up. Let's give another crank up here. Alright, and the only thing missing here is to lock this size for Form 1. And let's see where we have control. I mean, it could. I think it could be locked. We could try that and see if that does the trick. So let's try that and see. No, that doesn't do anything with that. So let's get the back in there. I don't know what that did, but just bring it back to what it was. Window state normal. I think this just does the size. Yeah, that does the size. And form border size. Form border size is sizable, which is what we're doing, but we don't want. So we're going to make it sizable tool window, fixed tool window, fixed dialog, fixed 3D, fixed single. So let's see, it's a fixed tool window. See if that's what we want. We'll see. Alrighty, and let's go and give that a run. Okay, so we have this now, and it doesn't give us an option to resize it, so that's exactly what we're looking for, but we can't move it for positioning. But no, we can't change the size of it. So we got the big yellow button here. So I'm going to be thinking about design of this ship control console, so that we can get some type of ship control console look to it, and then obviously when we hit the button, it will open up the browser to the different resources that we have. We have sound effects here, we have Google translation engines here, stuff like that. So that's basically what's going to be happening each time this thing loads up. Very good. Okay. All right, so we're going to do a little more research to see if I can get some switching happening here. I'm sure I'm going to need some JavaScript for that, but I mean, I think I can, if I have it clicked, I think I can select a different image once I click it. So if that's true, I can have like a down switch, and then you click it, and then it shows the up switch, something like that. So that's basically what I want to do. Also, this could be like a 3D button, and you click it, it depresses and something like that. So I'm sure that's something that can be done. But again, I want to first get some type of order, groupings, So that's what I'm going to design next, is the groupings on the control panel here. And I think we got something ready to proceed. So that's what I'm going to do next. That's definitely what we're going to do next. And I made it simple. The letters 1 through, the numbers 1 through 20 on those buttons. And I did make a list of what each button does. So again, the buttons may change from being numerals to some type of label. We'll see. Anything that enhances the user interface so that it's more like a ship control panel, then that's what we're looking for. Okay, I'm going to try it. I'm going to load in, I guess, let me try loading in some video. I'm going to try something here just to see if how good it works. So I'm just going to try something here. I'm going to try to bring in a video clip, risking that the resources will be too much on somebody's computer. It shouldn't be. They need to have powerful computers. I'm going to look for something maybe. I'm going to look for something that we could use. Video, something in video. Control panel, and just to see, usually they have like this audio stuff, control panel for audio, not much, so they don't have anything here that I can see. I'm going to look for then electronic control, like electronic control, see what that does. We got some old radios. They really got to get rid of this stuff. Who uses this now? they got this little thingy here that looks like I'm just gonna do it for now, just to see, just for testing purposes, and I'm just gonna do it for testing purposes here. Let me put this right into Spaceperium resources here. And I'm going to make a new folder and call it GUI resources. And put it in there. Okay. So that's downloaded there. And then I'm going to bring in this is a good one though, because you would have to put in something that plays videos. And I don't believe the picture box does that. See the picture box or a web browser, but if I use the web browser, it has to be a resource on the web, and then it has to play, load up the video into it. Although if I can find a GIF, let me look for a GIF. We can use the picture box. Let me try to find something. Do they? They don't have GIFs, do they? It has There's video, vectors, illustrations. They got music now. Interesting. Photos. They don't have GIFs though, I'm pretty sure. There's another place to get GIFs though. Let me look for GIFs. There is a place I found, I heard on a video the other day. You have Jiffy or Giphy, whatever. Let me look at the history tab here, see what we had the other time. Let me open up the history. This was from when was that? Like 2 days ago at least. We're still looking at some GIFs here, looking for something for the control panel. Now, I already saw two possible candidates. You know, I could just put them for testing purposes, but I said, let me just keep scrolling while I'm here. And we went to a break and all that, so that's basically what's happening right now. Most of these GIFs, you know, understandably, they're understandably, you know, vivacious and animated and whatnot. You know, we're looking for something more, you know, just simply to emulate some type of control or meter or something like that, which obviously would be a hard thing to find as a GIF. It would be something perfect for us to use. I mean, this can be used like something like that, but then they have this title in there. Little things like that we find. Not perfect, but almost there. So just give it another minute or so, and if I don't find anything, I'll have to go back all the way up where we found something. And obviously one of the options is to make our own. I'm going to use this. This seems harmless enough. It would have to be in a web browser, and these things kind of react a little different. So, yeah. And what does this mean? Media. What is that? I'm copying this just to see what the effect is in the web browser. So this is what would happen in the web browser. You get all of this, which is not what we want. And I don't know if the embed is any different. How about the source? Let's see source. Source with no edits. Let's see what that does. Same type of thing. Oh, okay. Let me try the embed. That creates an iframe. It plays in all browsers, so let's see what it does. Nah. Oh, because it's an iframe. Let's see. It's an iframe code. All right. So we're looking at this then in the web browser. So we will place a new web browser here. I'm just going to put it at the end here. I'm going to move this button off around here. Okay. Alright, so we're going to put that here, and I'm going probably to, well, this is an embed, so, let me just put the URL in here. And I'm just gonna take out everything. Let's get the iframe source. Embed that, and that's that, and just take everything else off. That way, when it loads up, that should be the only thing that it loads up. We'll also deal with the anchoring here as well. It says top left, we'll leave it as is. Save everything. And let's see what effect that produces. There you go. Now you see that? So that was successful. Now you see? So here we have the control panel in its primitive state, and we have a GIF that actually has a nice little animation going on there. So that's basically what we want to accomplish is having GIFs so that the GIFs make the thing look like it's something that's operating, so that the console is actually doing something, or at least it has the appearance that it's like you can actually think it's going like it actually has a hum to it, there's power there, whatever. So let me make that larger, see if I can make this thing larger here, like that, and just Let's see what that does. So yeah, I made it larger. I'll have to just position it a little better, but yeah, it makes it larger and it has the effect that we want. Okay, it's not going to stay with that GIF. It's just to give us the idea of something on there. I may position it a little differently, like bring that, make this a center here, and then put the buttons around it on either side. The ship control console here on top with some buttons there. So let's do that real quick. Now that I got the idea. So let me bring this down. Let me make this just a little bigger here. Control console here. That's there. Let's get all this stuff out of here. Just going to check position on that center. See, so that's the idea, is to have that central part and then have the buttons on the left and right. Alright, and then these buttons, I'm going to bring them up. The other thing is to lift all these up here. Bring all these up here. These buttons are so very, very temporary things. They're just placeholders, really, and of stuff, old stuff that we have. And I think we're gonna take this up. Let's just bring that up here. Let's bring the 1 through 10 up there, so have some kind of sense to this. Oh. Alright, so we'll have to revert. Alright. Oh, let me do this one first. Alrighty, and then bring this up a bit here, see how that looks. Again, these buttons are temporary. So basically we have this design factor there. Well, definitely going to have a communication section over here. So this is this is Gamemaster headquarter, Gamemaster chat. There's the C, Gamemaster crew. The difference between the C and the crew is that the Gamemaster chat might be between different game masters in a network. A Gamemaster headquarters may be a direct chat with headquarters. So that's Gamemaster crew would be the crew members would be in that chat room. And Gamemaster, what is it? ST has to be statum. See what it does. Nothing happens. All right, so that wasn't connected to anything, but it's probably the stat. So we're definitely going to make a label for communications. I believe it had it before in the old version. We'll bring out a label here. Label, and we'll type in here we'll put in a com panel and make that text white. Panel. And on that side we'll have systems, because then you're controlling systems and you have the comm panel. I think that should be good enough. Split it into two sections. Systems control, and maybe put panel in there. Alrighty, so alright, so I guess that's okay for now. So we have to look at the controls and just design them a little better, and that's that. And then obviously next we'll do the AI scripts. So I wanted to get done today, but we couldn't do it. So I'm going to call it a night. Thanks for watching. Friends, share, subscribe, order the HD DVDs. Alright, take care. Thanks for watching, and join us next time. We'll be doing the AI scripting and some more work on this GM, the Gamemaster user interface.